Welcome back to another episode of SportsVibe, episode 99. We just did a 2-hour preview of the entire college football season, all the power conferences, what to expect, the first few weeks of games. So really comprehensive and fun. So something I've been wanting to do for a little while, but we're going to take that a step further in this episode by doing a little mock bracket for the college football playoff, top 12 teams deciding a national champion. So stay tuned for all of that. Just to go over like what the format's going to look like, it's basically going to be the same thing as it was last year, just with one major change. Like 12 teams are going to make the playoff. I guess the only major change is the 4 highest conference champions last year received a bye, regardless of where they were ranked in the CFP poll, which allowed like teams like Boise State, Arizona State to get the bye. Clemson, the ACC champion, still wasn't able to get the bye because they, I think, had like 3 losses or something. So, but this year, the top 4 teams will be the top 4 teams. So even if that includes like multiple Big Ten teams, multiple SEC teams, like what have you, that's going to be a top 4. All 5 conference champions, or the top 5, including the Power 4 and the top group of 5 team, will make it into the format. But if they're ranked lower, they'll be seeded as the 12th team, or as the 12th team instead of as the 4th or 3rd team. Other than that, the first round is going to be home games on campus sites. The New Year's Bowl, the 4 of the bowl games are going to be are used as playoff sites for the quarterfinals. Cotton, Orange, Rose, and Sugar. Cotton Bowls on New Year's Eve. The Orange, Rose, and Sugar Bowls are going to be in their usual time slots on New Year's Day. So get to see the sunset and everything. The Fiesta Fiesta Bowl and Peach Bowl are semifinals this year. That's going to be like January 8th, 9th, and then Miami will host the national championship game. That's going to be January 19th at 7:30 p.m. Kind of around when it was last year. So you're just like adding like an extra week for these first round matchups is pretty much like the major change, I guess, to the format. And then the bowl games and everything are being used as playoff games this year, which is honestly pretty cool. So, and then of course national championship. But with that being said, that pretty much is how the format works. We could start with the format on, unfortunately, we're just going to be like writing it down and discussing it. I'm not really putting it on the screen because that's been a little bit of a tough one to find, one that actively works, but picture it how you picture it. I'm going to make sure everything's accurate. First of all, we start with our top 4 teams, and, the rest of them, 5 to 12, 6, 11, 10, 7, and 9-8 are going to be first round sites. So, what do you think is going to happen with those top 4? Who do you think is, first of all, who do you think is going to be number 1?
Well, let's shake it out. I think Texas is going to be number 1. Too much returning talent. Arch Manning has been like the praise is the second coming of who even knows Peyton Manning. I don't know. I don't think that there's anybody realistically that stacks up to them on paper, except for possibly Penn State, who I'm going to put at number 2. Unfortunately, paper's paper, and
Yeah.
Steve Sarkisian still has to win a big game. He still has to go out there and win. So I think, I don't know. I feel like it's a prove it year for both Sarkisian and Franklin. That's what I'm going to have at number 1, number 2. I'm going to have Texas and Penn State. There's a lot of parallels between these two teams. The top dogs have taken a step back. They have taken a step up. They had a lot of returning production. It's just hard to go to see anybody else but these two at number 1 and number 2.
Yeah, all really good, interesting standpoints there. Yeah, that's how the season will pretty much start out with Penn State and Texas. Between who they're bringing back, the consistency, the quarterback play, I think that's what separates them from the other contenders. So I really wouldn't be surprised if the way we start is the way we finish. Obviously, the big game against Ohio State versus Texas, if Ohio State wins that one and they end up running the table, they could take that one ranking right away and really hold on to it. So, that's subject to change, but I feel like Texas is just too talented this year. They have like they have all the right stuff in all the right places. And yeah, they've been knocking on the door as well. So yeah, Texas, I think, is a good number 1. I think PSU, if they can live up to the hype, and that's something we spent a lot of time on the last episode talking about, they should be number 2. I mean, I think roster-wise, they're more talented and probably better than Ohio State this year, better than Oregon. They should at the very least go 11-1. Maybe excuse one of the, losing one of the 2 games. Probably going to be the road one in Columbus, but I still think they're probably going to end the season 11-1, maybe even 12-0. Who knows? But I think they'll be the number 2 team. It'll be interesting if Penn State ends up 11-1, Ohio State ends up also 11-1. Maybe they lose once to Texas, maybe once to Michigan, maybe once to Penn State. I don't know. It's probably going to be one of the 2 at the beginning or end, or maybe Ohio State even goes. Maybe they even go 10-2 with losses to Texas and Michigan, but then a win over Penn State, and Penn State ends up 11-1 with a loss in Columbus. So a lot of scenarios to shake out. I guess continuing that train of thought, who do you have as the number 3 team in this bracket?
Now this take might surprise some people, but I'm going to slide Clemson in here at number 3, and that is simply because that Clemson plays in the ACC while the other schools around them play in the SEC and the Big Ten. Clemson has the highest ability to just run the table over their weaker schedule and come out of the season undefeated. And even if 1 or 2 are not undefeated, Clemson will still be behind them. However, a perfect clean record, taking care of your conference, land you in the top 4. I'm going to put Clemson right here simply because they are an up-and-coming team, but they do have an easy schedule.
Yeah, that 100% makes that makes a lot of sense, honestly. So yeah, I mean, they could run the table. They should run the table at least in the conference and be the conference champion. I mean, I guess my question marks with them are going to be the games on the either end, like LSU, the opener, if they can win that. South Carolina, one of those 2 might give them a loss. I would not think both of them. I think they're going to be able to get at least one of the 2 SEC wins, if not both. But even then, they'd probably be 11-1. Which is again going to be right at the top of the rankings. Texas might be undefeated. Penn State might have a loss. Clemson might have a loss. It might be 11-1. Third seeded Tigers. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it. I mean, a team like that, and especially if you also have an SEC win to go off of that, ACC champion, bringing back what they have back. I mean, they're starting at 4. I mean, I think they can, they'll probably end up overtaking somebody for 3 if they play as well as advertised, I guess, is kind of, their question mark. And assuming they can also win one of those SEC games, I think that'll prove that they're for real. So then who would be our 4th team in this bracket?
Going back and forth on this one, but I don't think you can ignore the former national champions forever. So I'm going to go with Ohio State here. That wide receiver core is as best there is in the country. That defensive line, same thing. I think those are 2 areas in which you need to excel in this current age of college football. Nobody does it better than them. However, with the other areas and where they might be lacking, I don't think you could put them any higher, but any lower doesn't make any sense to me either.
Yeah, so the Buckeyes, coming off their national championship, yeah, they lose a lot, but they return a lot of talent, and they have guys like Caleb Downs, coming in at returning at safety. Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Brandon Innes is going to be a terrific trio. Julian Sands, a really high recruit. I mean, that doesn't kick off the way Ohio State fans would like to see week 1, but by the end of the season, I think they're going to be the usual Big Ten power that they are. And I think a top 4 ranking is appropriate. I mean, I feel like they may find a way to still, beat Penn State. I mean, they'll probably go at least 10-2, if not 11-1. So, I mean, an outside shot at 12-0 as well. If they can, I feel like Texas and Michigan are both going to be problem games for them, but they might find a way to win one of them. And if they do, I mean, I think 11-1 is very well in question. The 4 seed, I think, is achievable for them. Yeah, I think, given the other 3 teams ahead of them are returning more and they have more proven production at quarterback, I think that's what really puts them ahead of Ohio State. But then Ohio State, I think, considering after this, there's going to be a little bit of a drop off. I think 4 is about right. I mean, maybe you can go 5, but I feel like, I feel like they're the 4th best. 4th best team seems about right. I mean, they might even overtake Clemson and be 3, but for the sake of this bracket, and who's returning what. I feel like Clemson sitting at 3 is good. Ohio State sitting at 4 is good. I think
I
they'll
just
probably
want
be
to point
behind.
out that Texas, Penn State, and Clemson are my picks to win their conference too.
Right, yeah, they're all conference champions, and then if Ohio State isn't, then automatically they'd be, like below them. But they might be the runner-up to like a Penn State in the Big Ten championship game, something like that. So I
Yep.
think 4 sounds about right. Yeah. Okay, cool. So then I guess moving on to our 5 to 12s. I guess who do you see at 5? I mean, where does Notre Dame slide
That's
into all
exactly
this?
who I was going to say.
Oh,
Notre
interesting.
Dame.
I had a
The only
feeling.
reason why I don't have Notre Dame in the top 4 is because I think the fact that they're not in a conference is going to continue to come back to bite them. All it means in this current age of college football is one less quality win to add to your resume.
The conference
That's all it
champion.
means. I mean, um, other than do they match up against Clemson this year? I think they
Mm,
do, right?
I,
Notre
they
Dame.
might. I have to look at their schedule
I
one more
think they are
time.
stacking up against Clemson this year. At most, I see them running through the table with one loss,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah. No,
it's
they
that
don't.
it's
Wait. I don't think they do play Clemson this year. Actually, I don't see them.
now Clemson this year.
Yeah.
Well, it
They
still
play
doesn't even
Miami.
matter.
They A&M. They play some decent teams. They play Boise State, so they might end up scoring against at least like maybe one. I don't know. Miami's like pretty like close to a conference champion. Boise State might be our Group of 5 representative, but yeah, I mean they're not going to be in a conference championship game. They're not really going to go against like other than Miami, like anyone of that caliber like all season. So it's going to be hard to like put them ahead of like proven teams that are either in or have won a conference championship. Um, you know, so I mean,
No,
like,
and but the
yeah,
thing is, I don't think you can because they have built into their own schedule under their own choosing to have one less quality game. So I don't think you can go any higher for Notre Dame. I also don't think the schedule says they're going to go any lower. They're probably going to finish
yeah,
the season undefeated, but undefeated in less games. You know,
like a 12-0 versus like a 13-1.
exactly. And you have to factor in the conference championship games. If the Notre Dame brass are hearing me, uh, join a conference and join the Big Ten because we know what conference you're going to when you do join. It's going to be the
Yeah,
Big Ten because all your
exactly,
rivals are here. But
exactly. Well, they play a lot of ACC games actually. Like they have a
right,
bunch
but
of them.
in their protected rivalries for Notre Dame,
USC,
USC, Michigan,
yeah,
Purdue, um,
Indiana, maybe I don't know. Like
I think
they're
there is an Indiana rivalry.
right. Yeah, their in-state games are both Big Ten. Their USC game's a Big Ten game. They're in the Midwest, so they would fit perfectly in the Big Ten. And
Exactly.
I mean, like last year, what they beat 2 Big Ten teams, they lost to the third. Like they'd automatically come into the Big Ten as like one of the power teams. Like so they're probably so yeah. I mean, that'd probably be the one to go to. I mean, they're in a whatever agreement with the ACC where they play so many ACC games a year, but Big
A
Ten would probably make
scheduling agreement.
yeah, a scheduling agreement, which is why I would think if they were, they might go to the ACC, but I don't know. Big Ten, I think, makes more logical sense for them. Competitively, also, I think, and then they play a lot of games against like Ohio State too, like things like that. So I mean, I feel like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, if geographically, rival wise, like probably Big Ten best fit. So anyway, either way, they're at 5. I feel like the independence thing like might be like now in this day and age, like it might not be such a bad thing because like they could still have access to the playoff and all of that kind of stuff. But like I mean, it doesn't hurt them as
But you
much
don't
as
get access to an automatic bid.
that's true. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and yeah, exactly. That's true. And I mean, they're definitely good enough to make it if they were to join a conference. So, but anyway, I mean, soft schedule. They might plus they might still lose a couple. They might still lose like one to Miami or one to I don't know. Like there's not it's not a guarantee that they're gonna go 12-0. Like last season they lost to like Northern Illinois. Like so you never know what can happen. But even if they do, they're still very likely to make the playoff. I think 5's about right. I mean, so now with that out of the way, who do you see at 6?
Georgia, the
Yeah.
runner-up in the SEC. I don't know if you
Yeah,
can go anywhere else for the SEC number 2. I think Georgia. I mean, That's just because I think they're going to be the number 2 in the SEC. I don't
Right.
see anybody
Runners
else. I
up
think you
to
have to go
Texas
Georgia.
in the title game. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in this projected thing, they'd be the runners up to Texas in the SEC. They lose the SEC championship game. I feel like the last couple of years, Georgia was the SEC champ, from what I remember, and Texas was the loser of that. But then Texas ended up going farther in the playoff.
Yep.
Did they? Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, yeah. So I think Georgia, the runner up in the SEC, will get the 6th seed. That sounds like a good place for them too. I feel like they still bring back like tons of talent. So like whatever you want to say about like their quarterback situation, they're still going to be one of the better teams in the SEC. So then I guess now we have 7. I guess we could just start with the 7 game, a 7-10 game. But who do you think is going to be the 7th seed?
Oh, you're talking about. Wait, you're just talking about going to number 7, right? I'm just a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
confused about how you worded that.
Oh
Oh,
no,
okay. You're just talking about who do I think is going to be number 7?
right.
Hmm.
It's a tough one. We have
Hmm.
to consider we have to have a group of 5 team make this thing somewhere. So like keep that in mind too.
I don't think just yet though.
Not yet. Um, Dang. Who's at like the top of the where's this Miami like seed in all of this if they make the playoff? I guess is like a question to ask. We could like just try to fill numbers in the meantime, I
Hmm.
guess. Miami's ranked 10 right now. What about like Alabama and Oregon are ranked 7. Oh, 7 and 8 is 7 is Oregon, 8 is Alabama, 9 is LSU. I feel like those two teams, Oregon and Alabama, are going to be teams that end up making it. They're probably going to fall right around this range too.
Number 7, I might have to go Miami here.
Ooh, that's an interesting one actually. The U.
I might have to go Miami here.
Okay.
Um, I think it's SEC, ACC, not SEC. ACC runner up.
Miami.
Um,
They should have a good record this
I can't really think of a good reason to keep knocking them down. I think at this point we're starting to get into the conference runner ups.
year. Yeah.
That's
Assuming
what
they
I
like
got.
have a good record and they don't have like any slip ups like I mean, they can have maybe like a couple, but like, maybe they beat Notre Dame or they don't, but they have to beat Florida. Like, they have to win some of these games. So assuming they are the runners up and they, knock off some of these other teams and, play a respectable game against Clemson. We're assuming they lose because Clemson's supposed to be pretty good. I could see them at 7. If they're like 10-2, 11-1. I mean, I think 2 other teams that we should probably put in are like Oregon and Alabama that are bound to make this tournament
That's
at
who
some point.
my next pick was going to be. It was going to be Oregon at number 8.
Okay. And
Um,
Bama at 9.
Bama at 9.
Ooh, so that would set them up for a first round date.
Yep.
Wow, like the land. Wait, no, it's not the landing bowl. That's Georgia, I think.
And I might shock you a little bit. I'm
Oh,
going to
that's the no. Caleb DeBoer Washington. I'm trying to like draw like some little ties, but
Caleb
we're gonna.
DeBoer is Washington. But yeah,
Yeah.
you know what? The rivals. I'm sure there's no love lost between DeBoer and Oregon.
Hmm.
So I'm sure that there's something going on there. But I might, like I said,
You might pick an upset.
I might stun you with number 10,
Okay, I want to hear it.
Iowa State at number 10.
Ooh, Big 12 champions.
Yeah. Um,
Okay. I mean,
everywhere I'm seeing Kansas State,
yeah.
Texas Tech. We're not going to give any love to the Big 12 runner-ups. Come
Right,
on,
they're
man.
bringing a lot back. Yeah, I mean, I think
Bring the love
Farmageddon.
back.
I think Farmageddon's going to be a really good example. And those are the 2 highest teams in the poll. Like, I don't know, personally, maybe me seeing them in action, like Kansas State,
Hmm.
like they look good against Rutgers. If they could take the next step in their offense and maybe tighten up a little on defense, they're going to be front runner. Iowa State as well, though the way they had some good wins. They beat Miami last year in a bowl. They beat Iowa. I mean, that's not an easy win. Like whoever you are. So I mean, like then runners up in the Big 12, of course, they won like all those other games. Like I could see that. And that actually sets up a very interesting rematch in our playoff bracket too. Now that
That
we got there, because they're going to be against 7 Miami, who they played last year in the Pinstripe, not Pinstripe, the Pop Tarts Bowl. With with Cam Ward. And they ended up beating them. I think Kim Ward played a half, and then he got subbed out. But that leaves two teams in 11 and 12 for our
So
bracket.
got another one for you. Another curveball.
Okay.
This is where I'm actually going to put Texas Tech
So two Big 12 teams. Interesting.
back to back.
I
Yep.
didn't really think that was gonna happen. Okay, seem a little high in Texas Tech.
Dude, because literally everything that I have read about the college football playoff picture this season, somebody somebody has mentioned Texas Tech.
Interesting. So
Everything that I have
they
read,
might be like
and like,
another.
don't get me wrong, I'm like, I trust the opinions of experts, and obviously not all these people are experts, but if everybody's saying that they think that Texas Tech has a shot, I think that probably means they have a shot. So that's why I didn't want to put them any higher. I wanted to like put them as like just getting in.
I
But
see.
I see a
Yeah, I've seen
lot.
some like analysts like have them picked.
Exactly.
It's
I see a
interesting. Yeah, I
lot of
didn't
Texas
know
Tech.
this. Yeah.
It's because of that oil money. They've had an insane
I
bunch
heard
of
the
recruiting
recruiting
classes.
class was like really good, but I thought that was maybe like next year or something. Maybe it's this year. I don't
Well,
know.
no, they had a good one last year
Oh,
too.
that's
That's the
true.
thing. A lot
Yeah.
of good players expected to develop.
Yeah, I heard their defense and their offense has a senior quarterback. Big 12 is very unpredictable. I mean, anyone like makes a little bit of a move, like they could be at the top this thing. Like I was in our preview, we were talking about Kansas State, Iowa State, and Arizona State, but I was mainly going off Arizona State off of last year, which like I don't know if that's even gonna really come back to fruition again. I mean, Texas Tech is like I had them right outside of that group, but I heard they were supposed to like make improvements, like I was saying, the recruiting class and then their schedule, I'm sure, like shapes up. I mean, they're playing a Big 12 schedule. Like they could win, a lot of those games. Maybe even most of them. So yeah, that's an interesting one. Okay. I mean, I'll take you on that.
I don't think
And
you
then,
can ignore all the sports writers that are
yeah, I
saying
mean,
it.
if that's what everyone's saying, like then I think that might be a good cash. Like if I were doing this, maybe I would have had Kansas State or Iowa State or maybe both. But like Big 12 is just a weak conference, so like I don't know, but I could definitely
Right, but
see
with the
Texas
Big
Tech
12
making
being a
it.
weak conference, there could be teams that end up 11 and 1, 12 and 0.
Yeah,
You
could
know?
be Yeah, I was thinking maybe we see Kansas State, Iowa State, but it would be a little predictable if just the two ranked teams are
And I
really like.
don't think this is that outrageous because I don't have Texas Tech going number one overall. I
Right.
have
I
them
think I
like
think it's yeah. I mean, there's always going to be like some unpredictability. I think it's good to, and yeah. I mean, I think Texas Tech they have a good roster. Although apparently one of their running backs like suffered an injury, so like he's out for the season. Quentin Joyner, who transferred from USC. But yeah, I mean, a lot of money coming into that. $28 million coming into that. They went 8-5 last year. I think that oil money is definitely going to help them get to that next level, especially in a conference like the Big 12, where there's just like a lot of mediocrity. Like they could definitely stand out. Whether it's this year or not, I think they'll definitely be one of the competitors. So if they make it at 11, that leaves us with one seed left. It's going to have to be the Group of Five champion because we are basically like yeah. I mean they have an auto bid and we filled out the rest of the bracket.
yeah. Um I could I completely agree. Wait, I'm sorry, you lost me a little bit there.
No,
Um
I just said like I mean it has to be like a group of five champion because we filled out like the other 11 spots.
right. Um
My mind has like Boise State on it. Like I don't know if that's where you're gonna go though.
my mind has Tulane on there.
Ooh, I was thinking Tulane like as a because yeah,
And
I mean they look like a pretty solid team. They're adding BYU's quarterback who's supposed to be pretty good. They've always
right.
been like a
So I think they're improving in the passing game, but I also think Boise State is taking a major step back with the loss of
losing Gentry.
Ashton Genty.
Yeah, he
Like
basically like was a huge impact on their team. Obviously
he was
having
he's an animal.
the ridiculous season that he had. Yeah, I mean they've always been like pretty good in the American. Like I guess Memphis is another team to watch out for in that conference. They play each other, so that could be a big one for bragging purposes. They have a tough non-con, but actually, so I mean we'll see how that goes. But I mean Northwestern, I think against a Big Ten team that should be at least one Power 4 win. I'd be surprised if they don't get it. They also play Duke, who their quarterback transferred to Duke, Darius Mensah, I believe is the name, and then Ole Miss, who they actually I think had a pretty competitive game against Ole Miss a few years ago, and maybe that ends up happening again. I feel like Ole Miss still the better team, but I feel like I remember them having like a pretty competitive game against Ole Miss like a couple years ago, I think. So tough Power Four slate, but in the American, like I mean, if they can make some noise and maybe go 2-1 in that non-con, or 3-1 because they also play South Alabama, and then they can run the table in the American. Like I could definitely see it. And then yeah, like you said, like I think Boise could take a step back because they're losing Genty.
It's hard to think that their production is going to be the exact same when you're losing somebody who did
Is
that.
that good? Yeah.
You know,
I don't know where they would have been like without him. Like is the question, I guess.
I
And
don't think they would have been in the playoffs.
no, they probably still would have been like a decent team, but like not like that great. You're not like
It would have probably been like the first G5 team out.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, UNLV was pretty good. They were ranked. Like they probably would have been like behind them. Like they would have been a bowl team, but they wouldn't have been like a standout group of five team like they were last year. They gave Oregon all they can handle. I mean, they gave Penn State like a decent game. I was hoping for a little bit more, but I mean, like it is what it is. But I mean, they still had a good run to where they got, I guess. And yeah, Genty was kind of shut down in that game too. But anyway, I mean, all right. So then Tulane in for the group of five bid. I mean, I don't know if I really disagree with that. I mean, I think they're definitely going to be one to watch out for if Boise's going to take a step back. I think getting through this non-con slate might be a little challenging, but if they can knock off some of these Power Four opponents on it, then I think they'll be in good standing. Yeah, I have to look at Memphis's if they play like I don't know. It's a little easier, but again, the head-to-head. If Tulane ends up winning the American, and they can even pick off like one, maybe two of these teams, like they'll be in good standing. All right. So then I guess with that being discussed, let's start simulating this. So our first matchup, I don't know where we want to start because I wrote all over the seating. We can start with the 8-9 because Alabama taking on Oregon is a very intriguing game now that I think about it, and that one's going to be at the higher seed, which is going to be number 8 Oregon.
I have no idea. I think
Yeah.
I gotta give it to Oregon because Alabama kind of
They
like
took a
showed
step
what they
back.
were.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, they didn't really do too great last year, and also it being in Autzen, I think that might have an impact. And Oregon has a really good like quarterback coming in, like Dante Moore, and they're still going to be as high flying. It's an intriguing matchup for sure. SEC Big Ten on the road at a Big Ten school. Like I don't know when the last time Alabama's done
I
that.
think that's gonna be another key too.
Yeah.
Like the time difference.
Yeah, and the road environment that might be a tough play. And it's in a battle between similar teams, like that kind of thing can sway. Like if it was in Alabama now, then like Alabama might be the favored team over there. But that's the
Yep.
fun of these playoffs, like having these campus games and these SEC versus Big Ten and Big Ten versus like SEC and going to the other conference and playing a game in the South or in the North. So moving past that, Notre Dame is number 5. Tulane's are a group of 5 bid at 12. So I mean, I would assume you
Notre
just
Dame takes everything without much of a sweat.
yeah. I don't think as good as Tulane might be, and they might be able to upset the Power Fours in the regular season that they're playing. At least one of them, Northwestern. But like, to Notre Dame's like definitely a big step up from that. I think Notre Dame rolls. Texas Tech versus Georgia. I think we're
I
going with
think
Georgia.
Georgia rolls there.
Yeah, I don't really see that like
Big
going
12 is
anywhere.
like I really want to say like sometimes I want to say it's like the
It's
power
like
2.5 and the group 7.5.
oh boy. Yeah, I guess it's like the weakest of the power conferences, and it's kind of like I mean the ACC also is kind of like weaker, but at least sometimes they like make some noise. Like Clemson has been good; they've won national championships. Like Miami's still pretty good. Like the top of the thing, there's still
Florida
some
State's done,
contenders. Wait, what?
you know.
Yeah,
Florida State's won some natties in a previous
that's
league.
true. And Florida State was pretty good. Like they kind of have at least more of a historical, and yeah, I mean Florida State won undefeated. Clemson's been pretty good. Like Miami's been in the mix. Like ACC still at the top end has some power, I guess. Big 12 really doesn't. Like their highest ranked team is like 17. There's only 2 ranked. Oh, speaking of the Big 12 teams, we have Miami and Iowa State in the other matchup, which is I think the 6-11. I mean, I'm assuming we go with Miami, or do you see like a first round upset here? But this is 7-10, I think, actually, not the
Wait,
6-11.
I'm sorry. You said Miami and who?
And Iowa State,
Uh,
I think that's the 7-10. Yeah, that should be the 7-10. Yeah.
I gotta go Miami. I mean,
Yeah. Well, last year Iowa State won, but it was like a bowl game, and I think they also subbed Cam Ward out at
no,
half.
they beat Miami pretty good, didn't they?
No, just well, it was like a close one. It was just by 1, but I believe they subbed Cam Ward out at halftime.
Oh.
So like it was like kind of one of those weird ones, but a really entertaining game. It was like full offense, no defense. Do you think Miami's gonna pull that one off this time?
Yeah, I would have to say so.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't really trust the Big 12 in these situations, I guess. Like,
No.
so yeah, that's like unfortunate. But like, even against the ACC, which is also not like the Big Two, like it's still like there's still like like Clemson, we're saying could compete. Like Miami could maybe compete. Like, yeah, I don't see anyone in the Big 12 that's really like that. So, all right, on to the quarters. Is this a quarter round? I don't know. Yeah, this is the quarterfinals. Texas versus Oregon. This is like another. This is going to be at a bowl site, so it's like a neutral site game. I don't know which
Texas
one.
versus Oregon.
That's a big
I'm
fight
gonna go
there.
with Texas.
Yeah, 'cause I think Texas is the better team this year. Oregon, like we said, like we're expecting them to not be quite as good as Penn State or Ohio State this year,
Yeah.
and that would apply to Texas too. So like, yeah,
At this point, it's all speculation. It's all gut feeling. Whatever you feel like
right.
is the stronger answer.
Yeah, I mean, there's no like, yeah, I mean, we're not really previewing this off of like any data
Yeah.
or anything. We're just making this is just a preseason predictions episode, but also, yeah, I mean, Texas would be the 1 seed, Oregon would be the 8 seed, and this isn't exactly last year's Oregon team either. Like, so I mean, that I think that makes a difference. A really fun one because I mean they played, I think, if I remember correctly, they played in a recent head-to-head, and Ohio State won both of these matchups. Ohio State also beat this team in the national championship game this season. It's another playoff appearance, or another showdown between the Fighting Irish and the Buckeyes. Does Notre Dame get the upset here, or does Ohio State hold on?
No, I think Ohio State locks them out again.
Ooh, okay. I like the sound of that. Yeah, I mean, I guess like again, Notre Dame, I feel like takes a step back. I think Ohio State takes a slight step back too, but not like as far as Notre Dame would. They're still more talented. They're still better than them. Again, at a bowl site, but Ohio State's had Notre Dame's number recently too. Like they beat
Yeah.
them at the shoe. They beat them at at Notre Dame. When Notre Dame was really close, but they ran the 10 men on the field, and Ohio State ran it in. They beat them in the playoff. Although so I think that. Yeah, and with Notre Dame starting a new quarterback, I feel like Ohio State's still more talented. They get the dub. This was another fun one because battle between two teams in the South. We have Clemson versus Georgia. They played a lot in like non-conference. Georgia's been the better team in recent memory, but now like Clemson like has bigger aspirations. The
But
Dogs have
you got to
taken.
go Clemson here, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a different Clemson team, a lot more consistency. And Georgia, on the other hand, is kind of taking a slight step back. So they're
And Clemson's expected to take a step forward.
right, right. So
Clemson
that,
moves up, Georgia goes back. Clemson steals the win.
yeah. And now if Clemson defeats LSU and South Carolina in the regular season, that would make them 3-0 against the SEC instead of the 0-3 that it was last year. So that's something fun to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if they can really go back to what they were and like be like a SEC killer in the ACC, then absolutely. I think this one could be a really competitive game if it does happen, and also like it's a bit of a rivalry considering the schools are not far from each other, and they also play a lot in like those kickoff games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of like Clemson, Georgia. I've seen them a lot in the non-conference, so they're both regional rivals. And then finally, our quarterfinal game, Miami versus Penn State, which is
Oh,
that's
Penn State blows them out.
yeah. I don't think I feel like Miami's there's just like a lot of flash, but like when you really get to like the kind of ball Penn State's going to be playing in this game, like I think they
I
should have it.
I'm gonna use an analogy to how I think this game's gonna go if it ever were to come to pass. Um, I think Penn State is going to ride into whatever bowl game they're playing at, like the Mongol horde, kill all the men, take all the women and children, and salt the land so that nothing grows again.
Okay.
If Miami and Penn State meet in the playoffs, like we have predicted, I think Penn State makes a complete example out of the Hurricanes,
I
and
feel like that could happen too. Like it'll be like, yeah, because it's just like a different beast type of game, I guess. Like,
yeah,
especially this year, like with all the talent, like, yeah, I mean, yeah, Miami is not going to be able to get away with like their usual style of football against a team like the Nittany Lions. So yeah,
no,
that ends quickly. Okay, so then now Texas versus Ohio State, we get it again for like the third time now in like the past two seasons. This is the rematch of the opener. Now, like this, the fun part about this is it could go the other way. If Texas beats Ohio State in the opener, Ohio State can get revenge. If Ohio State wins that one, Texas can get revenge. But I don't know. Like, what do you think is? I mean, I guess my gut feeling for the opener is Texas wins, but at this point of the season, I mean, Ohio State's going to be fully gelled. So, like, does that sway your opinion?
my opinion is actually whoever wins the week one matchup is going to lose this matchup.
Yeah, see, I feel like that might happen too. You know,
Well, here's the thing, right? When in the NFL, for example, the teams are so evenly matched that it's hard to go 2-0 over a division opponent, right?
right. Yeah.
And every time, like for example, if you beat your division opponent twice and
It
then
means
see them again in the playoffs,
oh yeah, that has like
chances are you're doomed. Like that's it. They're going to beat you
yeah, that's happened like with like sometimes
plenty
like
of
Steelers
times
Ravens or something like
because
that. Yeah, I've seen
you
that.
know the
Familiarity.
first matchup between division opponents usually goes to the team that is better,
Right.
right? But as like or not even like the first matchup, but it is so hard to beat a team that you are on equal level with
Well,
twice.
twice in the same season.
You know, and if you're in this matchup, you are equal level, if not damn close to it. So I think Texas steals the week one matchup. I think Ohio State takes it
Ooh,
in the playoffs.
wow. See, I have a feeling Texas is going to win the opener too because I feel like the Archer Manning versus Julian Sayin thing is going to make the difference when the teams
You
are
did
like
kind of sway
relatively
me when you
equal.
said that. Like I was like, maybe they do steal the first game, and then
I don't
Ohio
know. I
State.
know Ohio State's a favorite, but yeah, I think the quarterback when both of them so green, I feel like that could make a big difference. Like if Ohio State was opening up with like Akron again last, like I would be like, oh, that's not going to be a big deal. He'll be fine. But going against Texas in the opener, when Texas is really good on defense and also like on offense, going to be pretty good too. Like that kind of thing makes a difference. But with OSU being like later in the season, Ohio State's going to be completely gelled. They're going to be ready to go. I guess the talent wins out here. I mean, like they could pull it off. I guess this time in the rematch game,
Yeah,
I'd probably like it that way too. To be honest with you, but yeah. And now I guess moving to the bottom end of this bracket, Clemson versus Penn State. This is another. This is like a fight between the two teams that have like probably like the highest expectations in returning production that people think should make the playoff and national championship, but may or may not. But one of them will in our bracket get to that next level. Which one is it going to be?
it's gonna be Penn State.
Okay.
um,
Is it less like Big Ten versus ACC thing coming into play here, or is Penn State
what?
just better? Is it like another Big Ten versus ACC thing, or is Penn State just the better team?
It's both.
I think that's
It's both.
yeah. Okay.
I think Clemson gets so far because they have an easy ACC schedule. They
They did.
probably don't play
Yeah.
the top. You know, they play Georgia, who's falling
Right.
back in the SEC.
Yeah.
Um, Penn State takes it. Penn State's taking another step up.
That's
Clemson's been
yeah.
having it too good for too long, I would say. In this
And
hypothetical scenario, they've been having easy
they've
opponents
been
or
kind of
easier
coasting.
matches, too good for too long. Penn State comes in and finishes the
Mm,
job. Let's just say.
okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess I'll probably be rooting for. I think we'll probably be rooting for Clemson, and considering they also take down Georgia in this, that means they've beaten a team that has respect and rapport outside of the ACC. But I think Penn State, like you said, is I mean, they bring back a lot, and they're just going to be like really well oiled if they get this far. Like they should be able to, like, they have more talent at this point too. Like their defense is going to be really good. Their offense, they're going to be one of the few teams that can beat a team like Clemson. But I think if this is the hypothetical, I think they should be able to get the job done. And I mean, I do think, unfortunately, the Big Ten versus ACC thing like does come into play when we're talking about the best of the ACC versus like arguably the best of the Big Ten. I think Penn State proves that they're on another level. What they're basically like, all their continuity, which is even more than Clemson. So moving on to the championship, that's a Big Ten game. This might be the third time they see each other this season, given that they play in the regular season, and we're projecting them to play in the Big Ten championship, given where their seeds are. How do you see like not only this game going, but the whole season series?
Say it with me now. We are.
Oh boy.
Say it.
So okay.
We are.
Penn State.
We are.
Man, I really like don't want to do this, but I could see them winning the Natty, but I don't know. I feel like what's probably gonna happen is Penn State loses the first one because it's been like a thing, but then they might end up winning the Big Ten championship over Ohio State in a neutral site, and then if they play a third time, the talent could take over at that point, and that's where Penn State could get a little bit more comfortable with it.
First of all, that wasn't my pick. You were supposed to go along with what I was doing.
Oh, you're doing a George
I was doing a joke. I was gonna say we are not the
Ohio
national
State.
champs.
So you think
I
Ohio
think
State
Ohio
gets the
State
job
takes it.
done? Okay, you had me fooled there for a second. Oh. All right,
First
so
of
how
all,
do you
you
see?
really think I would ever say we are with good intentions?
No,
I can't do that
I
in
hate
my
that.
heart. That
Yeah,
would
yeah.
no.
Okay, well, so how do you see like the whole season series going? Because I think Penn State will get one of the three. It might not be
They
the
get the Big Ten championship.
Okay, but so Ohio State wins in Columbus, which I also do see happening, even if Penn State otherwise goes undefeated. It's just a tough game, it's a tough location. But then Penn State gets revenge. They kind of like, because like you said, like it's hard to win a game, against that level of a team like multiple times. So Penn State figures it out, flips a switch. It's also a neutral site. Third time is like, I guess, the grudge match now. So then I guess now Ohio State has a revenge factor. And even though they're slightly, I guess,
And Ryan
under
Day is a
talent
better coach than James
James
Franklin.
Franklin. And although Ohio State might be ever so slightly under talented against Penn State, it's not by much. And Ohio State's able to turn it on in a big game, behind Ryan Day over James Franklin, which I could definitely 100% see happening. Okay, so in this bracket, Penn State takes a step forward. Wins a big game over a team that also, I guess, won a big game in Clemson, but falls short in the end to Ohio State. The Buckeyes are back-to-back champions. And they also beat Texas. So Ohio State kind of beats teams, that are going to be like ahead of them in the poll here. I mean, they beat Texas. They get revenge in from the opening matchup, which we see them losing. We see Penn State losing to Ohio State in the regular season, beating them in the Big Ten championship. But then Ohio State takes the cake when it's most important. I mean, so even with all the roster turnover, Ohio State still pulls it out in the end over proven production of like teams like Clemson and PSU, who kind of haven't put it all together yet.
Yeah.
Interesting. Honestly, like this is a really good bracket. So like another thing that I think these four teams are probably going to be the four that ends up stepping up, and we see an all Big Ten national championship. So the SEC doesn't win one, and if this becomes a 3-game set between Ohio State and Penn State, I mean, it'll be interesting because on one hand, Penn State would have beaten them, and like I guess they've won a big game, but at the end of the day, Ohio State would still hold like the bragging rights, and they win back-to-back natties too, which is like really impressive, obviously. So I like the way this whole bracket's gone. I don't know if this is going to be how it plays out or not, but it definitely is one way it could play out. And I think this was a very successful exercise. So I guess, do you have any like final thoughts on like this bracket or just like the college football season in general?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. I gotta let my brain work with me here. Um, I just, I don't know. I think it's the Big Ten's time. You know,
Yeah,
like that's how it works for college football. I think it's the Big Ten's time. I think it's really our time to kind of assert our dominance.
our time to shine. Yeah. I think so because like the SEC won so many, and then now Michigan won 2 years ago. Ohio State won this year. We're projecting Ohio State to win again this year, and even if they don't, I mean Penn State's like right on the doorstep. A lot of people think that they fit that model of like the team that's gonna win because they bring back that similar level of production. And honestly, like as much as I hate Penn State, like going 3 for 3 with 3 different champs would also be like kind of intriguing. But at the same time, if Ohio State can go back to back, that would stamp them. Either way, yeah, it looks like the Big Ten in our bracket is going to have bragging rights. I saw something about Paul Feinbaum saying that like if like the Big Ten wins another championship, like he's leaving the country or something like that because like he's tired of being like called by Big Ten fans on his
Yeah,
show.
because Paul Feinbaum, like, oh my god, I'm gonna leave the country. What a loser!
Yeah.
He's a
So he's like,
loser.
Texas is gonna like take care of all of this and everything's gonna be fine. But honestly, Texas is like the real only true hope, I feel like, to really even win the thing. Like if they don't like come through, like the Big Ten has multiple other teams that can beat
Dude,
them.
I have absolutely had it with these SEC homeboys that always think that that
They're the
their shit
best.
don't stink. Okay, I've absolutely
Yeah.
had it with these SEC homeboys.
Did you see what he said about he's like the Big Ten acted like they invented football and then he got like
We
fact checked
did. We
exactly.
did.
So
We
funny.
invented it.
That's the funniest
What?
part. Yeah.
This
He's like
team right here
right.
literally invented college football.
Yeah, Rutgers. So, yeah, he got checked. Anyway, in our mock bracket, the Big Ten goes 3 for 3. Ohio State goes 2 for 2. Penn State falls just short. In the final four, Texas, Ohio State, Clemson, and Penn State, which are actually the top four teams to start the season. So we'll see if the AP polls hold that kind of weight when we're all said and done. But in the meantime, I mean, this has been a good episode. I feel like we've got college football previewed pretty well. Next week, I did want to do a game by game, like for the top games of week one, and also a recap of week zero. So that's going to be fun when we actually make those head to head predictions. Similar to how big how like College Game Day would do it, something like that, something fun for the 100th episode of Sports Vibe. But in the meantime, this has been episode 99, our college football playoff mock bracket episode. And as always, the vibes are always high in Sports Vibe.
Have a good one, guys.